So over the last few days, I've been on the road. I was riding Faith back from Pune to Chennai, about 1700 kilometers over the last 3-4 days, out of which I did the last 700 kilometers yesterday. So I thought I'd make this short video talking about something that I'm asked quite often, which is how I manage to reduce aches and pains when I'm trying to cover long distances on the same day. So let's rewind a little bit, roll the intro, and get down to talking about it. Like most things that require endurance, I believe that if you want to be able to ride a long distance, it's important to start thinking about it at least the night before. A good night's rest, being well hydrated, eating a good meal, it can go a long way in making your next day better. I'm currently at a place called Sagar in Karnataka. I've been riding for the last 3 days from Pune. So my energy levels aren't exactly very high. The last couple of days, I've been staying at very basic places, whatever I could find, somewhere close to the highway. The aim was to just keep exploring as many roads as I could, so where I stayed didn't really matter. But I know that tomorrow I have to ride probably more distance than I've been riding over the last 3 days. So in that case, it's important that I get a really good night's sleep. So when I entered Sagar, I looked for a few places. I tried to find something decent. I didn't really find anything great. So then I found myself a little chai shop, sat down, got on the internet. I used this website called Vigo. I don't know whether you've heard of it. It's a comparison website that aggregates information from different booking websites, agent websites like Make My Trip and GoIbibo, and also from Airbnb and stuff like that, if it's available in the place that you're looking. It's kind of handy. It loads quite quickly in places where you don't have great data, which is something I've been struggling with. So that's really convenient when you're traveling around in India especially. I found the place where I'm staying tonight, Tip Top Residency, through this, and I booked it, then found the place on maps, rode here, getting a little bit of work done now, and then I crash because I want to wake up early, load up, and leave. I've had to get on the highway to get my morning cup of tea. I have about 200 kilometers of two-lane highway before I join the Golden Quadrilateral, from where I can make good time. So the idea is to cover as much distance as I can early in the morning, before there's a lot of traffic, while the weather is still good and while energy level is at maximum. Alright, let's do this. So I've ridden about 180 kilometers, taking a small break to drink some water and stretch them limbs a bit. No matter what bike you're riding, you need to constantly think about how you're sitting on the bike. Try and make sure that you are always sitting on your butt and not your tailbone. And the other thing that naturally happens is you tend to grip the handlebar very tight. It's important to sort of leave your arms a bit loose so that you're not gripping them tight and feeling every impact and every vibration. Those two things make a huge difference. And also, whenever you can, just stretch your legs a little bit. While you're riding, you're constantly on the accelerator. Just stretch your leg out a little bit and allow your thighs to not get cramped up. Alright, let's keep going. Long way to go. almost 500 kilometers done now. About 300 since we last spoke. And I'm in Tamil Nadu now. Crossed Krishnagiri a little while ago. Now, one of the other things that I do to sort of manage distance is to split my journey up into parts. It makes it easier physically, mentally, and obviously if you're riding a Royal Enfield, you also need it for the bike. So today I'm doing about 700 kilometers. I split it up into 200 for the first part, then subsequent targets of 100, 100, 100. And I try and time those breaks so that I get one other thing done, just to be efficient with time. So like I time my first 100 with food, then my next 100 was a fuel break, and then another 100 done, and I've stopped to get some tea and some food again before I keep riding. Now mentally what I also do is I aim for something and I try to not stop short of that unless there's a really good reason. On a day when I'm trying to cover distance, on a day when I'm just out to take photos and shoot video, then I will stop a lot more often. But on a day when I'm trying to cover distance, I will try to not stop short of that target unless I'm feeling really sleepy or I'm feeling really tired or there's something else that makes it absolutely necessary for me to stop. If I set a target of 100, I reach that target and then I start looking for a place to stop. And in the process, what I end up doing is I ride another 20 kilometers, 10, 20 kilometers, which is like a little bonus. And at that point in time, covering that distance doesn't take much effort, but subsequently later on in the day, those 10s and 20s add up and reduce that last sector that you need to ride, which can be a huge relief because that's when your energy is at the lowest. By the way, it's not like there is any set amount of distance that you should ride. It's totally based on your own comfort and obviously the machine you ride as well. So you need to gauge it, and you should figure that out when you do like your first ride itself. You'll figure out how much your bike can take, how much your body can take. If it's 50 kilometers, it's 50 kilometers. If it's 200 kilometers, it's 200 kilometers. But just make sure you do it based on what you are comfortable doing. Let's keep going. Less than 100 kilometers done, but unplanned stops happening because guess what? It's raining, and guess who's not prepared for the rain? Yours truly is not carrying any rain gear because I was like, I'm going to Tamil Nadu, what is the risk of rain? Well, I should know better. Now need to empty my pocket and waterproof the tank bag. So as I was saying, wearing the right gear can actually make a huge difference to your comfort for a long distance ride. Like a full face helmet, a good full face helmet cuts down wind noise, cuts out the wind, reduces the amount of dust that hits you, so it really reduces fatigue. And the other thing that I think makes a huge difference is wearing riding pants, because when you're sitting on the seat, there's a lot of friction that actually happens. And when I ride in jeans or something like that, I find that they can cause quite a bit of soreness if you're in them for a long time. Riding pants on the other hand are made of a thicker fabric, and they also have an additional layer usually that sort of creates a little padding, which can make being on the saddle a lot more comfortable. Like it makes it possible for you to sit on the saddle for a lot longer. You do get additional cushions and seats and things like that as well. I've never used them, so I don't know about that. For me, riding pants work. Without riding pants, I feel very uncomfortable. The last 70 odd kilometers were absolutely brutal, but now we have cows on the road again, which means I'm just about a kilometer away from home. So I think this is a good place to wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.